I had a dream last night. The times had gotten weird. Banks were shutting down. Money disappeared. Nobody could buy what they wanted from the store. Folks could not remember how to be poor anymore.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You know, the other day, I wanted to ask you about this whole GameStop situation.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and the and you know, I see what the media is saying about it. You know that the I mostly watch conservative media, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even turn on anything else. You know, but you know what they say is, that the elite are doing everything they can to shut down these little people.
Yeah.
Who are trying to just do the exact same thing that they were doing anyway. You know, through that app, I think it was called what, Robinhood?
Well,
Something like that.
Yeah, that's the main one.
Yeah.
Robinhood is a company.
Yeah. So, do you know what was going on with that?
Sure, I know exactly what's going on.
Well,
I've been following this kind of thing for over 10 years.
Yeah. So, like,
I can explain it all perfectly right now. You know, you have a stock market. I can show anybody in the world how it's rigged. It would take me more than the time that I have right here. So I'll just talk about, how, a certain aspect of it. So we have these organizations that are called high-frequency firms. And these are the ones that manage the flow of orders, across stock exchanges and, with the NASDAQ that, has a different trading system than the New York Stock Exchange. These organizations, they prosper by sabotaging the trades of the public and professionals as well. And they would not be allowed to exist unless it was politically viable. So you notice the stock market always goes up over time. It really doesn't. I mean, over 30 years it'll go up, but it doesn't go straight up. Okay. Right. There you have this guy, how do you pronounce that guy's name? The Robin Hood trader that's always Flournoy or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know his name.
I can't remember his name. But he's the one that got that's the original instigator, and things like the public doing what they're deemed to have done with GameStop. But see, to have an organizations like the high frequency firms, what they do has to be politically viable, because if they helped the market go down the way they ensure that it goes up, that would get all the politicians in the world in trouble. So you have to think that they exist on the basis that they don't encourage the market to go down, and their contribution to the overall effort is to make sure it goes up. So what was done with GameStop, just recently, is it's parallel to what these high frequency firms do and have done. I mean, going way back to 2005, maybe even earlier than that. I knocked this off real early. But see, what GameStop is doing by running these short sales, and not everybody knows what a short sale is. It's not complicated. Let's say I borrowed something from you, like let's say a watch, right? Yeah. And the agreement that I would return it to you.
Okay.
So I have your watch. It's not mine. But I find somebody likes that watch. I say, would you like to buy it from me? So you sold it to me, so I would sell it to them, right? But I wouldn't own it. But then let's say the watch lost value. Let's say I sold it for $100. Mm-hmm. It was the same watch, but it went down to where you couldn't sell it for more than $20. So I would go back to this guy and say, well, hey, I'll buy that watch back from you for $20. And he says, well, that's all I can get for it, and I don't want it anymore, so here's your 20, we make the transaction. So I've actually made $80 on that, because I've sold something that I didn't own, then had somebody buy it back, and I collected the money. Now, so the idea that short sales are going to cause a bear market, that comes out every time there's market weakness. But actually, we could not have had this bull market unless short selling was legal. And it always has been. It's really kind of a neutral transaction, because any short sale is it's a temporary transaction. You don't keep it forever. You keep it until you think it's not going to go down anymore, and you close it. Now, this process is one of the main tools that the algorithms have in elevating the markets, because once somebody sells the stock short, they're going to have to buy it back. And so what the algos have done for years and years and years, they know what every transaction is on the exchange or off the exchange. They know what happens in everybody's retail account with every hedge fund. They know who can buy, who will buy, who's most probably going to buy. And so what they do, this is called, let's say, squeezing the shorts. So you get a period where you have, stocks that, have a lot of short sales in them. That people have to buy this back. So what they do is they find ways to start elevating the price, spook these people, and they buy the stock back, and it shoots all the way up. I used to make quite a bit of money selling short, but I gave it up. I don't know of anybody that's made money in short selling in 20 years. I mean, not on balance, and this is because the algos, they call them the algos, they're algorithms, they're high frequency firms. Well, that's because they control the market, and whenever you sell a stock short, what you really are is you're offering yourself as full food for the bull market. So with the GameStop, the retail investors figured out really, to do exactly, really very close to what the algos do without question for years and years and years. So all they did is come up with a different version of the same scam that's been going on for years and years and years. And I think it's really funny, because what they're telling everybody is that the stock market in Wall Street is a joke. It's nothing but a casino. Nothing is based on real value. Hey, we're amateurs. We can do that. That's like having wild cards in a poker game.
Yeah.
I used to know a guy that was a real good professional poker player. He was one of my customers when I was a stockbroker, and I would talk to him. And, somebody, while I was down there, they knew that he had the kind of mind that could see any kind of a hand, and he could figure out what his odds are and stuff like that. And so somebody said, well, how does it affect the game if there's wild cards in the game? So he says, well, what that really means is that women are playing. And he says, there's no wild cards in a real poker game. Because, if you have wild cards in the game, any idiot has the same chance of winning as the guy that knows every aspect of the game, because I mean, you can't figure odds of anything whenever you have wild cards in the game. So I mean, that's kind of a similar concept. A guy like me that's traded all his life, I'm really not in the market right now. I don't have any way to win. I play. I mean, I'm not holding myself out as a super skilled investor, but I know my limitations. I feel perfectly comfortable trading in the market. like if I'm buying, if the person is selling is somebody like me or even a hedge fund, or someone that doesn't have their thumbs on the scale, well, I can trade like that. But whenever prices of stocks move up and down, according to, let's say, deep state dictate, market manipulators' choice. So I have no idea how to anticipate what they might do. I can see signs in my charts that show that, like, there's distribution coming into the market. I see hard evidence. It's not hard to find. Other people can find, except that doesn't make any difference anymore. And the reason it doesn't make any difference is the people who manipulate the market have access to all the money in the world. They don't have to earn any money. All they have to do is be able to get their hands on what the Federal Reserve creates. And there really is no substance to any money the Federal Reserve creates. They have to get that. And a guy like me, they can break my back anytime. Because if I lose all of my money, that's all I've got.
Yeah.
But the algorithms and other people, they've got some of them have a perpetual cash flow. So, there is no way that a person who understands the market could really make a profit trading when you have another side that has, a complete and total advantage. So, but see, people go on with life and they use these old trading techniques that are based on technical analysis, and they begin to work in reverse. What would tell you was a good time to buy now becomes the time that you should sell, because the market is manipulated, and the operators of these of the overall manipulation schemes, heck, they're smarter than we are. These people are brilliant. You think that you have smart people teaching at universities and doing research and stuff. They're not half as there's not half as smart or as intelligent as the few people in the world that game them and manage the economy and the stock market, unbeknownst to the other people that deal in it. And that's really, really the GameStop phenomena. You're going to hear all kinds of people, try to fix that, but it's going to go on anyway, because the stock market is not even, you can't really analyze it with fundamentals, but you can't analyze it with technical analysis either, because neither system applies. So, what I'm watching all kinds of people, this is a great amateur's market. Right now, I wish I was an amateur. Why? Because I would be making a killing. But see, you understand that, since I use systems that I've developed, they're useless. There's not any way that I could suddenly become an amateur again. And just really all you have to do in a market like this, like if you have an IRA or something like that, is just buy something, count it to go up. You don't have to think about it. These like a company like GameStop, it's flat out bankrupt.
Yeah.
There's no real value at all. They might as well be trading bags of salt.
Yeah.
See, if I'm actually an investor, which is actually what I am, I can't make a decision based on that. And actually, I'm happy for these people that are making a killing in something like GameStop. But I can't do that. That's something only an amateur can do. You can't be now, see, I'm not the only one. I'm not a hedge fund, and no one has ever hired me to work for a hedge fund. But hedge funds, these are the most professional people in the entire world trying to make money in the stock. They're losing their shirts.
Yeah.
And they insist on using these tried and failed that are recently failed methods of techniques of technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and they're never going to get anywhere with it because nothing is going to apply. You know, there was a day when sentiment in the market you could just about count on. If everybody had already bought stocks and they were still bullish, they still thought they were going to go up, what that meant was all of the money that was available to buy is already in stocks. There's nobody left to buy because somebody that stands up and says, boy, do I think this is a good buy. Boy, I'm in totally. You talk like, you know, when people talk like that, what that means is it doesn't mean they just like the stock market. That means they're up to their neck in it. There's nobody left to buy. You could normally count on a high bullish sentiment as being an ideal time to sell. But now that stocks prices are managed outside of the real market, it doesn't work that way because people can just get bullish as all get out. And then they'll have more and more unearned money flowing into the market to keep it from going down and to keep people more excited and get it to go up even higher. So this goes on, and you have these people scratching their heads and said, why in the world isn't this working? To me, it's perfectly obvious. You're getting cheated.
Yeah.
Like, why do I keep coming home when I leave the home without a wallet? I come back without it every single day. Well, could somebody be picking my pocket? It's really as simple as that, you know?
Huh. Wow. Well, you really have a way of just really simplifying it.
Well,
you know?
That's right. My real job in economics. Anytime that you find a complex answer to any kind of a question in economics, you know, somebody's trying to mess with you. The reason we get these complex explanations for things is that people don't like the only solution that there is. And the only solution that there is something very simple. And it's largely something that might be very painful, you know, to implement. Like right now, it's so unbelievably obvious that the United States government is so corrupt and the people in it are so corrupt. There's absolutely no light. So the whole approach is, do we confront these people now? Oh no, we can't do that. That's scary. We can't get rid of them all at once. You know, so that's the kind of attitude that takes over something like economics. So, it's like the practice of stimulus. I could show anybody in the world that's willing to listen, like in less than a minute, that stimulus has absolutely no chance of having any kind of a positive effect on the overall economy. You can show pictures of people doing well. You can show increases in GDP for a while and stuff like that. But the net effect of something like that is always going to be negative, and it's going to last only for a while. And then you're going to have what they do with stimulus is they claim to be, preventing some kind of a severe reckoning. But with stimulus, what you do is you don't do away with reckonings. All you do is guarantee yourself and everybody else that the reckoning you would have had today would have been fine. It would have been over in 3-6 months. But say you keep putting off these reckoning scenarios to the point to where, like we are right now, there's no such thing as a reckoning in the U.S. economy that will not cause the entire economy to collapse. That's why there is such a staunch determination right now to keep the stock going up with, lies, cheating, bad legislation,
anything they can.
Anything that you can. Because I will guarantee you that right now, once the stock market goes down 10%, the economy here is finished. Because the only thing that has caused this economy to rise is money going into financial assets, the value of those financial assets going up, and say that the fact that there's wealth there, that's what actually fuels aggregate demand, which was funds the whole economy. So you'll notice, there's this old saying that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Well, that's not really true. But if you use programs like stimulus, the government has these phony stimulus operations. Well,
yeah, skimming.
Well, that's what it comes down to, because what they really are is they're a political tool. They're a political tool to distribute income to the people who can convince government to implement stimulus. And what that really comes down to is the stimulus is government buying what people are selling, or they're creating masses of money to give, to the let's call it the anointed, who then, according to theory, they're going to, to spend this on plant and equipment and things like that. What they really do is what anybody does that comes, comes by a big lump sum of money. They find the easiest and the shortest way to make the most money in the least time. And so for corporations today, that comes out to be buying back their own stock. They all own their own stock, so they buy back their own stock. The stock goes back up. The algorithms, they help by squeezing shorts. The stock market goes up even more. But see, that's not real value. That's all coming out. That'll all come out of the market. See, this is what's really going on. And I really think that they're embarrassed that somebody like these retail investors, let's say, gamed them. Now, but I will add I'll say something else about these retail investors. I will guarantee you, these are not retail investors in the classic sense of the word. They're plants. And no one had ever heard of Robinhood. Well, few people had heard. I didn't pay attention before the coronavirus came in and the stock market crashed for a while. So, the people that I call the manipulators of from the deep state, we don't know who they are. I know that they're there, I'm certain. But see, what they do is they say, well, gee, we don't have anybody to buy stocks now. So what they do is they start hyping the fact that retail investors are coming back into the market. Now, people know that, if you go to let's say a casino in Las Vegas, somebody can put like a silver dollar or something, or a token in the, in the slot machine. Well, it's their first ding, and wow, jackpot. Well, there's a good chance that the casino rigged that to happen, because the casino lost there, but say, hey, this is great, let me put the rest of that in there. Well, anyway, they end up losing that plus more. So see, that's the kind of bait that was offered to these retail investors. You have phony retail investors with a lot of money that are actually coming into the market and generating these short squeezes at the discretion, of the normal manipulation system and people. And so what that does is that creates activity in these stocks. Then you publicize it as retail investors. So, I'm very familiar with how retail investors think. They're not stupid. People think that a lot of them are stupid. A lot of them are real smart. But I'll guarantee you.
I had a dream last night. The times had gotten clear. Banks were shutting down. Money disappeared. Nobody could buy what they wanted. Folks could not remember how to be poor anymore. And times kept getting harder than anyone had known. There just was no money to beg, borrow, or loan. They all looked out their windows at wolves at the door. Folks could not remember how to be poor anymore. One night the skies turned eerie. The stars started shining a fiery red. People were jumping up and down everywhere. They were saying that the prophet Elijah had risen from the dead. But times kept getting harder than even before. Folks just didn't know how to be poor anymore. The people raised their voices, and together they did sing. If someone will just feed us, we want to serve a king. The leader stood before them, and he sent them off to war. Folks could not remember how to be poor anymore. They sent their sons and daughters off to fight for many years. The children did their duty, spilled